Y'all were talking about the dating thing, or the interracial dating thing, or something like that.
We don't want to talk about that.
I do.
Okay.
I absolutely do.
I don't want to talk about that. Okay, well, this is D.
Tell us why you
This
mad.
is part.
Tell us why you mad, D.
Why you mad?
This is D.
This is C.
And this is
Black Meets World.
So this is our.
That's a lot of episodes we got in, so
Yeah.
we're going to skip over that part. We're doing a full Black History Month special, so we recorded about 3.5 episodes. I say a half because one of them got lost in the sauce. You know, it's all about the experience. It's the evolution of the podcast.
I'm so stressed.
You're
Okay,
growing.
so
D about to have a conundrum.
I am. You know, I hate stuff like that.
Yeah,
It's okay.
I hate when
I'm the
things
same
aren't
way,
like.
but
I know I'm working.
but you also have to learn to just honestly let it
to
go.
let go
because
and let
it's
go.
gone.
Is that a song? Can you sing that one
And
for
just
this one? Let go and let God.
What left over every voice?
I'm just
You want to sing that one?
No, not necessarily.
Only harmony.
Not necessarily.
I know that you know let go and let God.
I probs do, but it's just not kicking right now.
I love you.
It's fine.
Like,
We can talk about that. So this episode was actually going to be kind of geared toward politics, mostly because we were talking earlier a little bit about Donald Trump and his unapologetic racist nature, which we completely kind of respect because at least we know.
well, you speak for yourself.
I respect, and I agree with Jay. Jay said this earlier. We respect because we know what we're getting. Like, there's no question about.
Jay said, if you're going to be racist to my face.
There we go.
And that's how he is. He said, let's get rid of the Mexicans. Let's get rid of the Muslims. Let's treat black people like shit. Okay,
I'm
cool.
glad that's how
If
y'all
that's,
feel.
if that's how you
'Cause,
feel, at least I know coming into it as opposed to having to question. Now, recently in political news, the Iowa caucus was like 2 days ago, and when y'all hear this recording, it'll be about 3 weeks ago. Hillary beat Bernie Sanders. A bunch of people dropped out today. Santorum, Huckabee,
that just happened because they were tied
O'Malley.
neck and neck.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, a lot of people dropped out today. And then in the Republican race, it was Cruz, and then Trump, and then Rubio came in third. So,
So many thoughts.
yeah, there's a lot of thoughts. You want go ahead?
No.
No. So I'm just trying to do a little bit of a recap.
Context, yeah.
So
Right.
it's definitely like coming up to election season. Make sure y'all are registered to vote.
Oh, of course.
No, that's, you know what the realest thing about this is the fact that, like, I feel like there's a lot of people who have never voted, who are my age.
Wow.
And that's regardless of being incarcerated or whatnot, where they lost their right to vote.
Can't vote. Can't vote.
Yeah, who are allowed to vote. And I've also had this discussion. I'm gonna say this really quick and go on to like my main point. But why are we a country where voting is not a mandatory day off work, or voting isn't a mandatory American right that you? In my opinion, I understand we are a free country. You can't make anyone vote, but that's fine. You can check NA. You can check I'm not anyone or not available or whatever.
Just vote
but you
something.
have to vote. Give people there's so many ways to block voting, and that's why we are such in a position where we are now, where people are having so many barriers or red tape to get to these polls and actually vote. Why isn't it a mandatory obligation as an American that you need to go and vote? And it ain't got to be on one day. It could be a Tuesday and a Wednesday or whatever day it got to be. But you got to go. Because I know so many people are like, girl, I can't take off work. I got bills to pay. My boss didn't let me out.
Or
we didn't get off.
Or weekend voting. Like Obama
Like a
was
Sunday
saying, like
morning or
I
something.
think it was like 2 State of the Unions ago. He was like, we need to make it a lot easier for people to be able
Right.
to
Are the polls open till 7 or 8?
7. I think it's usually
Okay.
7.
I mean,
Like 7 to 7.
yeah, I think it's interesting because most of my parents work for the state, and they've always had election day off. So
Federal employees.
yeah, they've just
Or
never.
state employees.
To me, it's just never been a thing. Like, oh, okay, I can always. We have school.
I've never had off on a voting day at any of my jobs.
No, not any of our jobs. I think in school, do we get election day?
But I'm saying, as an adult, I'm not voting when
still
I'm
have
like
class.
a 17-year-old kid. I'm voting when I'm an adult, like when I have to
Sure,
take
when
off
you're
work. Like,
yeah. And for me, like, I've always just made it home and voted, and it's never been a big deal. But there's a lot of people who don't have the time or can't make it to a poll by the time it ends, and I think
because the lines be wrapped around the corner.
Obama was saying some crazy shit. He was like, "This shit needs to be on the weekend. We need to do online voting." Like,
Online.
He was like going in.
Well,
like,
and
it needs
even
to be-
absentee ballot is hard. Like, it's
It's so
difficult.
difficult.
So let me
to
tell you
do
something.
absentee ballot.
So let me
Yeah.
say something. As a
I registered
Georgia
in Virginia
resident,
just so that I could vote there because it was too ridiculous to do absentee in New Jersey when I was in college.
I did that.
as an absentee voter, I'm not doing that shit again. I'm just gonna fly down to Atlanta because I'm in a position where I can now. But I'm still a Georgia resident.
You still working?
And yeah, if they ask me for jury duty, I don't know what's about to happen. But I am still a Georgia resident after living in New York for a lot of years.
I mean, I still have my license. I can't talk.
I will say this. I did absentee voting for the last 2 elections. And I will say this. I didn't realize my votes don't count unless there's a tie or electoral. What is it? What is it? Count as? So Georgia had like 13 electoral votes, I believe, at the time when I was voting. And
If the popular votes.
Exactly. If there's a tie as far as candidates are concerned, which it's not because Georgia's a Republican state, then they will count those votes. But otherwise, my little Democratic vote didn't count, baby. And I didn't learn that until
Why aren't you registered to vote here?
That's another question we're not going to get into. So, because then you're talking about me becoming a New York resident, and that's a whole nother conversation.
You live here.
That's a whole nother conversation.
What do you mean?
How much you paying insurance for your New Jersey license and your car?
I don't know.
Okay.
There you go.
Another point of privilege. So, as I was saying about Trump,
that doesn't mean that I don't. But for real, that doesn't mean I don't pay it. It just means I don't know. Why aren't you a resident of the state in which you live?
Are you trying to come for me right now?
No, you came for me.
There's
I'm
a lot
asking
of
real
things
question.
that come when you have residency,
See,
when it comes to taxes, when it comes to getting insurance, and it's very different.
Yeah, no, I pay 2 state taxes. I'm asking you specifically why you wouldn't.
I just told you.
Okay.
It's personal. And I said it comes to when you
Okay.
file taxes, and also, because I technically, if you want to get all up in my pockets, hell, I am a remote employee and I can live wherever I want to.
Oh.
And if I am looking to buy property, and if I'm looking to also get a car, vehicle, and get insurance, Georgia is a lot cheaper than New York City.
It absolutely.
So thank you for getting all up in my business, D, as I move along into the political
Because you tried
topic.
me.
I didn't try you, but you kept coming though. Like,
Yes.
I let it go, she kept coming.
You telling me that
I feel like
I'm
you trying to
privileged
get me the
because
door.
I don't know. It doesn't mean the bill's not
Oh,
paid.
sorry.
You don't.
I didn't realize that was a
here.
personal note. It was sorry. I realized why you're coming at me now. All right. These niggas over here humming him. All right, so back to Trump. So one thing, I will respectfully disagree with. I respect that. I guess I do respect that Trump is so forthcoming with his ignorance, but it's also in line with the fact that I think a lot of people who support Trump say, like, at least he's real, because most politicians aren't their true authentic selves. You have to lie in order to be on this platform, in order to gain the public opinion. And I feel like that's what happens in politics. There's no forgiveness when it comes to your personal code of conduct. You have to put on this like front that you are this perfect person. You go to church, you have a wife, you have a husband, you have 2.5 kids, a dog, and a fence around it. So like you have to put on this persona, but I guess Trump represents this like guy who's like, yeah, I hate Muslims and I don't like Mexicans either, even though they make my clothes cheap. So guess what? We're gonna kick the Mexicans that are legally here out. We're gonna make sure we have all of these Muslims registered, so we make sure they're not any terrorists. But we're not gonna do that to the Jews. That's gonna be racist. The whole Holocaust thing, that was horrible. So we're only gonna do it to the Muslims.
And I can shoot anyone I want and still.
Yes, because NRA is real, and we are gun-toting citizens that have a right to carry arms. And I don't care if I want to carry arm to a church, to a bar. I should have the daggone right to do so.
Well,
And these conservative people agree with that.
I'll be transitioning or.
Go ahead. Do what you want.
Well, so
Korea.
Come on, CAD, y'all can't
Put all the laughs out. I ain't mad. I didn't know I can't be.
We gotta bring some peace and tranquility
Y'all
up
are
in here.
tripping.
I'm
I'm
doing
not
that.
mad at all.
Okay, but
There's nothing happening here.
You
Go
bring up
ahead.
a lot of good points. So the thing about Trump, right? All right, so you I don't know if you heard a couple debates ago where Ted Cruz came out and was like, "Oh, Trump has New York values." Did y'all hear about that?
Yeah.
So with the whole thing of like, the Republican base is trying to really appeal to like the evangelical kind of Midwestern sensibility, and like Trump's New York values are such that he thinks he can do whatever he wants, and he has like this renegade kind of
Boastful,
attitude,
pushy.
boastful, all this braggadocious shit. All right, but I think what's happening, kind of on a general, like kind of broad scale, is that even though the economy has been getting noticeably better, just like straight facts, right? People are people are still feeling very angry and very disenchanted with the system itself. And so anyone who represents something outside of that system has risen to prominence, right? So you got on the left Bernie Sanders, on the right Donald Trump. They're perceived as being outside of the system, outside of the status quo, right? So Trump, no one's financing his campaign. He's paying for this shit himself. He doesn't have
So
to
nuts.
play nice for y'all, right? He can say whatever the hell he wants to do. And then Bernie Sanders, he's going on this like, I'm a democratic socialist tip. Let's start a revolution. So he's like galvanizing the young people. Like he's seen as sort of the anti-establishment candidate on the left. So that's why they're just getting the most publicity right now. But it's all going to come down to who is the most electable and really what's the most pragmatic choice for someone that can actually get things done in the government. That's my personal opinion. It's good that we have the far left and the far right just to like bring consciousness to the issues. But I think
Who would you vote for if you voted right now?
I would say Hillary Clinton.
Okay, we have 2 Hillarys. You want to share yours?
I like Bernie. Let me qualify though.
For the reasons I just talked about.
Right.
Hillary Clinton.
I like Bernie.
Right.
But that man is old.
Yeah, that's
And
Hillary's also old.
Hillary is old, but she has been in politics for so long.
Yes.
And one thing that I like that Anderson Cooper brought up early in the debates was her hindsight on how basically Bill Clinton's administration started mass incarceration.
Yes.
And one thing that I really liked that she said was like,
Well,
hindsight was 2020, and we fucked up, basically. Like she was just like, what we did
Started
then.
with Reagan and was re-signed, and he signed another bill that basically like continued the mass incarceration of.
Right. I mean,
entire
what she
community.
said, what we did then we thought was right.
Yes.
And now looking back, it wasn't. And I can understand why people will be upset about that and how we need to fix that. I like the fact that she held herself and Bill and the entire administration accountable for the mistake politically, whatever, that they made, and acknowledges the fact that there's ways that they can fix it without like creating some huge blow up in the political community. Like there are ways that we can address mass incarceration that won't negatively impact her campaign or whatever the case. You know what I'm saying? Like politically, she can still work that angle and not have to worry about the government shutting her down. Not worry about the Republicans literally shutting down Congress because they're upset.
So timely enough. So remember Obama signed off on some convicts who were in jail for like 20 plus years for non-violent crimes, for drug related crimes. So timely enough, Demarius Thomas, who is going to be in the Super Bowl for playing for the Broncos.
I know that name.
Yeah, who's playing for the Broncos this Sunday in the Super Bowl? His mom was in jail for like a crack, like with intention to distribute. She was in jail for like almost, her charge was I think 20 plus years or something like that, and she just got out like recently.
Wow.
Okay. And so he's reducing minimum sentences.
Yes.
What she's referencing here is that Obama is pretty much trying to reduce minimum sentences for like minor first offense drug charges and minor offense drug charges.
I mean, his grandma was an OG though. She was motherfucking like drug dealer in the neighborhood. Grandma got life in prison. You listen to me?
I think the thing is though, like we have to remember, kind of to your point, D. Like Hillary's been around this shit a long time.
Long time.
She was first lady, right? And not just like a plum sit on your ass first lady. She was like a smart doing shit behind the scenes first lady.
She
right?
was a Michelle.
Yeah,
I
right.
was gonna say that.
So she was like a forward-thinking first lady. She was senator of New York, right?
She's held office.
She was Secretary of State.
Right. She knows what's going on.
What does Bernie really
qualified.
know about like foreign relations?
Listen, I like Bernie
I don't
because he
know.
marched with Martin Luther King, and I'm
that's
down
all
for the
well and
cause.
good.
But politically,
But,
to
like,
run the nation, I agree.
That's the thing. Is you need somebody who's going to be able to get shit done. You know what I mean? And
Who would you vote for?
Mr. Sanders.
Ooh, nice.
How you feel about
I like it.
Sanders versus
Burn.
Hillary?
Feel the burn.
How do I feel about
The
Hillary?
center.
Yeah,
Speak
I feel
on
like.
it,
So
Yeah,
why
yeah.
do you support Sanders versus Hillary, or just your stance?
I feel like my vote should reflect my mind state. My mind state is with Bernie. My mind state is not to. And to the effect of that was a common theme for why someone would elect Hillary. It's because of her experience, because of the background that she has, because of the fact that people believe that she is a deal maker. That's the ramification of why someone would say, I'm going to vote for Hillary Clinton.
Yeah.
The person who votes for Bernie Sanders votes for Bernie Sanders specifically because he does not have that ledger of history. We are choosing not to invest our vote in the person who has operated in the status quo of politics. It's a conscious decision.
Yeah.
It's also affirming that we don't necessarily believe that the term deal making is the narrative that we'd like to associate with that as well.
Yeah.
We don't want a deal maker. This is an investment of moral purpose, and that's what the people are investing in Bernie Sanders. What I know of Bernie Sanders is not that he's going to be an excellent president. What I know of Bernie Sanders is that what he says he means.
Okay.
What I know of Bernie Sanders is that he's going to approach any decision with a morality that reflects the same that I have.
Okay.
What I like that. Okay. I mean, I really
It does
do.
not mean that I believe he's going to solve world hunger or that he is an excellent foreign relations.
It's solely a belief.
The thing about it is though, like that's what a president is tasked with doing though. Like all those like macro level things is what we ask our presidents
but
to do.
Then the second element is our assessment of the job in which Hillary has done. And this is what differentiates it.
Let's get into it.
I love your commentary, by the way.
Sorry, I'm just so
to the extent that we say that she's excellent in foreign relations.
Well, I ain't saying excellent.
I mean, they call
really
Osama.
attest to that being
I said
excellence
experience.
of foreign relations, mastery of your position.
I said they
Experience.
catch Osama.
I said she's been around.
Experience.
Right.
Proficient in Photoshop, not expert in Photoshop, right?
Proficiency.
So she has a proficiency in formula.
We can say
Can somebody
experience.
please get this marketing
I
magic
know a ton of people who
out
are in
of
jobs
here?
in which they are
Let me walk
not
out.
proficient in.
Okay.
I know people who have had jobs
Okay.
for 3-4 years and they are not proficient in their position.
Okay.
All right, so there's a difference between the pedigree and the actual the ability to do something.
I feel like I've seen her do good work though.
So I agree. I think that's really interesting to.
That's the dynamic, and it's both are respectable. I don't necessarily.
I haven't heard that perspective.
To be
before.
real.
Yeah. Okay.
Be real, son.
Hello.
I like
don't
that.
necessarily believe in the authenticity of Hillary Clinton.
Now,
I don't
and
necessarily
there's-
think that
because
any
of her-
component of her decision making
Because
would
of
be
her
made
Happy
on that
Kwanzaa
morality.
comment.
look, that's part of it. There's
Part
some
of it.
truth.
Did you
Look,
not feel that? You felt that a little
I
bit,
mean,
right?
look,
It was reaching him.
Yeah.
There's
Okay.
some truth to that.
See, and
she has a public problem, I think. She has
It's not a public
she's
problem.
got
It's a personal problem.
I mean,
Because she operates
She's trying.
under the guise of a politician.
Yes.
And I think what the
she's
people
a
are showing
textbook
you,
Democrat. You're right.
50% of people are backing a person who did not have a super PAC. What that is telling you is that they are tired of that type of politician.
You're right.
Well, but
it's like-
politics in general is hard for people, right?
Yes.
So we're voting based on a lot of things we don't know.
Yes.
Like
Yes,
part
yes,
of
yes, yes.
my problem with talking about politics, I'm glad we're having this conversation, but I generally don't speak about politics to my friends.
You can't.
Because there's so much we don't
Well,
know.
not friends,
There's
not coworkers.
just general. Like there's so many things we don't know, and there's so many things we don't know.
Yes.
And so when it comes to Hillary being a textbook politician, following the rules, saying the right things, I agree.
Yeah.
But I also
Some
think
ways.
in that perspective, she has a better chance of beating whatever Republican that Bernie Sanders does.
I think that's debatable, though.
And that's fair. And I think, I like Bernie Sanders
Depends on
because of
who
his
Bernie is.
because of
debatable.
well, that's true. Because of his authenticity, because of the fact that he really just believes
More than just it's consistency. He has a repertoire of being the same person for a very long period of time.
okay.
A very long period of time.
And-
He's very consistent in his authenticity of the person that he presented, of who he is. Who is Hillary Clinton on a fundamental basis?
Well, I
we
think-
know who Hillary Clinton, the campaign is.
Yeah.
The
we
First
know
Lady is, the Senator is,
right. We
right.
know all the positions in which she filled, but do you know
do we?
who she is?
But I
Nobody
think that's like the
knows.
smoke
I
and
think I
mirrors
know
when it
who
comes
she
to
is.
like any politician. You'll never really know
Yeah.
because it's all for a purpose. It's like I'm doing this so I can get in office. Like this is my job. My job is to make sure
But-
that my whole life is like catered around.
And
an
here's
image.
the thing about when people say like he's an outside of the box candidate. It's short-sighted because it doesn't take into perspective of history before him. He's not the first of his kind to come if he were to be elected as president. He wouldn't be the first. Roosevelt, which is conveniently one of our most prominent presidents in history, was in similar fashion to him, in the sense of upset with the general consensus of public affairs and the greed of corporations and the power that they amassed and turning that into policy.
Right, exactly.
Roosevelt did that.
I mean, the New Deal
legitimately was the same candidate. They're running in similar fashions. Like so it's not like this has never been done. It's not like he's that out the box. What the truth of the matter is, he just represents what the people's, the general public's opinion of what's going on.
And what's interesting to bring up
does not represent the general public.
And what's interesting to bring up about that is FDR was in office for 4 terms. Like,
that's what I'm saying.
He was of the people, and he was in there for so long. They had him in office for 4 terms. He's the longest standing president.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, FDR was in office for 4 terms. He's there for 16 years. He's the only president to ever do so.
And I was about to guess 16 too. Oh my god.
And it's because he was a president of the people. Now,
is that what they?
Also, there was like a lot of shit going on.
Well, yeah, there's there's a lot of things that were contributing
but I think we're
to
in a
that.
similar time frame. We're in a very similar.
We ain't
necessarily in where Roosevelt was, but we in a similar. We just came out of this. It wasn't a depression, but the recession.
It was.
I think the general public is really at arms at this in regards to the flagrant power that very elite exercise over the political. Even if here's the thing: if Bernie Sanders doesn't win, he still wins.
Yes,
because this mind state is going to live into the next candidacy.
That's what I was going to say.
If Hillary was to win this year, she will probably only be one and done, and that's because the stance of the public is activated
want
to
just
feel
a difference because she's been a part of this Obama engine. I think people just want I want something different from the Obama bandwagon.
But here's the thing too, and this is kind of which I think this is disingenuous on her behalf as well. Just taking credit for a lot of the initiatives that he championed. Yes. And it was so convenient when 8 years ago she was combating him on those fronts.
Right.
And now she's here championing his same efforts. Like now, so it's like you gotta. I can go crazy on this because of the sense.
She's pretty much running for the third Obama term.
This is what I'm trying to say.
She's the continuity candidate.
Well, she's trying to put herself in that position to be so. But the point is, I don't necessarily know that her initiative is to be that type of candidate. Yeah. And you understand what I'm saying? Like, I feel like it's disingenuous, and it comes across to a lot of people that way. It's not just me.
I don't know if it's as much disingenuous as it's pragmatic, just because, like we said, she's been in this shit for so long. She's been doing it 20 plus years. It's
but
like
that's
second
nature.
But
second nature. You just become that person.
I think she knows
good at it though.
Because of her experience.
She's good at it.
She knows what it takes to get things done in Washington.
Yeah.
And so my argument would be and some people will, vastly disagree with this, but I feel like to change the system, you kind of have to be a part of the system.
I mean, Bernie Sanders is not necessarily
to be a dissenter.
He's
is
still
good for
the house.
For the message of the platform.
He in the cold.
I would love for Bernie to be involved in the administration in some way, right? But I do not think he necessarily has the tools needed.
I think he can
that's what I mean.
Those, I think he can put himself in people who are the tools. I think he can gather a couple lawyers who know law, and have the same moral fiber that he does.
I think I'd rather him be one of the tools than to him be the one leading the show, calling the shots.
I mean, they're all puppets.
And so I was just gonna say what we talked about last episode.
The first episode of the new year.
Right. The first episode of the new year is
Return of the Mac episode.
Return of the Mac is you have to understand what the position is asking of you.
Yes.
And so there's only so much, we had a guest on named E.
Young revolutionary.
Young brother E, who basically spoke about the fact that JFK was sitting in the same room as MLK and was assassinated in the same way.
Basically, so these are politicians or people in that during that time who went against the grain and refused to be puppets. Right. And look what happened to them.
Okay. And so you can only say so much for whatever cause you're about before your lack of compliance to the party or to the position gets you in trouble.
Okay, but what type of person are you?
Okay, you better.
And if that's
who are you? And this is again to the moral fiber aspect.
You're right.
Who are you? Are you a person who would cut a deal so that you live comfortably? And this may speak to a bigger picture thing in the sense of like the moral fiber of society in general. I would rather be assassinated and firmly tout the things that I personally believe in, that I know to my core are true,
And to sell out.
than to be in a position where I'm technically successful, but at the demise of others because I want to play things safe.
Well, I mean,
That's
I'm
my
not so
personal
sure
opinion.
we can put that on Hillary. I don't.
I am
think
no.
that's
This
what
is deeper than that. This got deeper than rap. You know.
Yeah, I mean,
This is deeper than that. But I'm just saying, like to that statement, she was saying like people go against the grain and they get killed.
Yeah.
I mean,
Okay, so did you really live if you couldn't support things that are your core? Like let's say with Birth of a Nation, it just came out, right? But
Hey, shout out, brother.
and now that flipped the story around because now it's always we always champion the
not in that term.
compliant, not in that term, the compliant leaders.
Yeah.
The Martin Luther Kings.
Not the Malcolm X's.
Not the Malcolm X's, the people, or Nat Turner who said, F this. You know what I mean? Like, y'all are oppressing me. I'm going to fight. And if I die, I die.
So
You see what I'm saying? Like that's a different type of leader.
It is.
And that's a different
But which one is
person.
more effective, though?
Okay,
See, effective
but you know what?
is assimilation. It's to some extent.
I think effectiveness is marked by what you're able to actually change, not how you're not what you're able to make people feel. People's feelings are one thing. Bernie Sanders has mastered capturing people's feelings. I'm not so sure he's going to be able to effectively change it.
Trump has
in the same way that Hillary can
And
affect change. That's my litmus test for effective.
And I'm gonna transition a little bit according to effectiveness. Speaking of Obama, you know about this thing called Obamacare.
Yes.
So Jimmy Kimmel went out and took like a poll of like people who he asked a question. He posted like this. So what are you in favor of? Obamacare or universal health care?
Yeah.
Granted, for those listening
hilarious.
or not as familiar,
It was an Affordable Care Act.
Affordable Care Act. Thank you.
Yeah.
Affordable
That's
Care Act.
hilarious.
Affordable Care Act or Obamacare, which are the exact same thing.
And
Because it's not the
people
same thing as
would say-
universal health care.
Right.
Yes, sorry.
Right.
Thank you.
That's where I was going to go next.
Right.
But
And people were like, oh, the Affordable Care Act because such and such.
Right.
You don't know shit about politics.
Exactly.
I'm going to tell you right now.
And you
Like,
didn't choose Obamacare
I got so
because
mad
it's
about
Obamacare.
that shit because I was like, so you really know nothing.
You just
because
hate
it's
Obama.
the same. Right. Because,
That's it.
child.
And it's literally the name
Period.
attached to the candidate.
It's
And people
the
giving so
name
many crazy
and
responses.
the race. If you had JFK care, if you had Kennedy, if you had Kennedy care, if you had Nixon care, everybody was like, oh my God, Kennedy. What?
Let that president have history in the books.
No.
Oh, you
Listen,
got Obamacare? Because his name will live
it's
on.
okay. So
that was a Fox News.
it's the
talking
Jesus.
point.
It's,
It's like,
the principle. It's the principle. People don't know
Yeah.
what they don't know,
Yes.
and people don't take the time to figure out
And Google.
their stance for real. Google. Listen, I tell my mother
Google
this
is
all the
my
time.
friend.
Google is your friend.
Yes.
Ask me a question that I don't know the answer to. I'm gonna Google it. Why don't you do the same? Here's the thing.
I want you to think about most of society, most of America. People aren't as engaged with these types of things, these issues.
Why?
So they don't know.
And then
they
what-
don't have conversations like this around the
Yes.
table together.
And
They
then
talk
what
about
hap-
loving hip hop and getting this shmoney.
But
Cardi B?
No, wait, but then what happens? They vote based on how they feel. People vote
Oh,
based on how they
which
feel.
goes back to your conversation,
Which is what
yeah.
I'm
Right.
saying.
And so I think it's
Feeling
good.
is-
You want to vote for
Policy
somebody
is
who
too-
looks like you and has the same kind of moral code
Right.
as you.
You want to vote for the guy
Whether
you can
that's
have a
a
beer
gun
with.
tote-
And there are
Right.
plenty of people who voted for Obama who knew nothing about him, but because he
black?
was black,
He represent-
that's
he
my
He
homie.
also represented
And there are
change,
plenty of-
especially coming out of the
Well,
Bush administration and that whole.
but
Right.
but there are people who are going to
That
vote for
helps them more
Hillary
than anything.
Yeah.
because she's a woman,
Yep.
regardless of her politics.
And
now,
because
Yeah, but
it's
see, here's the
America,
thing.
that
It's
is
not
100%
for me.
okay.
and yes,
I think in regards, I think Hillary Clinton definitely activates women from like an empowerment movement. It
Oh, yeah.
feels
Oh my
like
God,
it when her campaign, it just feels like a come up.
Yeah.
Like all women I speak to about Hillary Clinton, they just like, yeah, we coming up now. You know what I mean? It's like, we about to get this equal
might
pay.
about to
We about to get this equal pay.
And
I'm
about to
like,
get this-
but you know,
Exactly.
but to that extent, I feel like I just feel personally that this is not a person who, specifically in regards to minorities, specifically in regards to our situation, this is not the candidate who we should necessarily, and as a bigger scope, put our support behind, because I don't think she actively represents our initiatives.
that's fair.
Okay.
Okay,
And
so
in the debates, she didn't.
I might
she doesn't
agree
at
with you.
all,
I
and
think
then
I-
to
doesn't-
that extent,
she doesn't
I feel
address
like
it.
for that cause.
Back to the mass incarceration thing. She's very vocal about.
Well,
Okay,
acknowledging-
but then you
that
ask her.
alone.
But if you
Based
ask
on
her
that
direct
alone.
questions about Black Lives Matter, about literally specifically, she's distant.
disengaged. She's
Literally
not there.
in questions specifically about Tamir Rice, about Sandra
yeah,
Bland, about
she's
people
not
whose
there.
names you can say. She has nothing to say
not
other
there.
than a political
Now,
response
what
rather than
she
a genuine
is,
response.
She
Why?
is in
Because she's
feminism.
policy minded.
But she is in feminist. She knows she's a numbers person. But what she is like you said, she's pragmatic. She's a numbers person. She realizes the numbers. Now, in that extent, I feel like she knows that women can elect her into office. She knows that for a fact. That she needs that support, just like Obama needed women when he was elected. So I think she knows that that's what she's catering to women, because she feels like y'all could get me into office. Thank you. And I think it's that simple. I really feel it's that simple. It's that pragmatic for her, because you have to ask yourself, the feminist movement even actively engage Black women? And that's an question that y'all got to answer, because
There's different movements. 'Cause
right,
there's a
there's
feminist
four
movement.
movements.
There's
womanists.
Right, there's
four
womanist,
movements.
because technically, you know,
I
there's
studied it.
privilege
I've done the studies on the feminists.
Well, there's
four
feminism
different-
refers to white people. Let's be
Yes,
clear.
yes,
Feminism
yes, yes,
refers
that's my
to
point.
white women as
So,
opposed to black
are
a
women.
you
double
have to
minority
ask-
as a Black or
in
Latina
relation
woman.
in regards
whole
to
different
this conversation.
Yeah.
That's your demo here.
Yeah.
You have to ask yourself: is that disengaged from your background, the people that represent you?
But
she's not
but
representing you.
as a whole, based on the past 50-something presidents, no one's
None.
really.
But here's
Right,
the thing.
and so
But it's not like
we'll
Bernie
take-
has came out and said,
But it's-
I'm not going to support women. He said everything that Hillary said. He's not actively out there like women power. You know what I mean?
And
But he's not a woman,
And
though.
he's not
Exactly,
a woman.
he's not a woman.
It's a different though.
Innately, so.
You had
Hillary's not
2008
black.
or sorry 2012.
Neither does Bernie, but he understands certain elements.
Does he?
Right.
I think he do.
Right.
I don't know. I
And
think
that's
he
a
do.
that's a
I'm just
point.
saying,
He
I think
thinks he
assume
understands.
a lot about Bernie
Right.
Sanders.
Listen.
That's all I'm saying.
I think he
We do understand. Well, I'm sorry. We do assume a lot of things. I think in 2012, we knew Romney wasn't about women, and I think that's why he lost.
Or just about.
Or my
Well,
General,
Or
anybody
anything
but
that's
white
not-
males.
okay.
Anybody
Okay.
but the country
Y'all,
club.
y'all are correct. I meant specific to what we're talking about
Romney don't
now.
pay no tax.
You know,
Anybody but the country club.
Romney
basically.
was really doing his own thing. You know what? We're gonna wrap this episode up now.
Cool. I think it was good. Hopefully this was enlightening. I know it was good. I've never heard your perspective, Jay. So that's
And we don't.
That was-
I don't talk about politics a
You
lot.
better talk about
And
it.
you can see I don't really.
Hey,
know.
You were like, I'm good.
I'm
Take a
very
step back.
observant when
Yeah,
it
yeah.
comes to politics.
So
Yeah.
thank y'all for being part of our. Is this
Yo,
gonna be
politics is
last
the one thing that you cannot talk about at work. I learned the hard way.
Oh no.
Oh
my God, there are people-
I literally was leaving work, and I never forget my chest got hot, and it was the 2012 election. So long story short, my boss's boss was like, hopefully we can get the White House back.
Ooh.
There are people in my office right now talking about how they can't wait till Obama leaves and they can't wait for Donald Trump to be in office.
Ooh.
To make America great again.
To make America the America
And
it
I
should
just
be.
want
The
to
question is
say this
for
last
who?
thing. Right. I want to say this last thing. Y'all, it's a very real possibility that Donald Trump can become president.
So vote, register your ass.
But I don't
scares-
think you realize
it
that he's
scares
making
me.
this far.
Like, yeah, and I think
Like
it was like a
he's
joke. It's like,
surprised.
oh, haha, he's ready for president. We'll see how far he gets.
Like
It's
Kanye in
he's beating
2020.
out Bush. Oh, haha, now he's beating out Cruz.
Right.
Wait a minute, this man is actually the front runner of this damn ticket.
People
ahead.
are voting based on feel. So wait, okay. Polling is not the same as the electorate.
Absolutely.
He's
You
not
have to
going
go
to
after
win.
certain states, of course.
But
He's
like
not going to win in his own party.
polls have
Oh,
been
he's
vastly wrong
But
in
he's a
previous
threat.
elections. That's all I'm saying.
No, but he knows what he's doing, and the people who are following him represent those ignorant beliefs that he is portraying, whether or not he's ignorant or not, right?
All I would say is like you just need to register to vote. If you feel some kind of way about politics, register your ass and make a vote. It's literally that simple. Because you know what the problem is? Some people aren't registered. Some people say, "Oh, my vote doesn't count." But for all the people who literally, if we got all the people together who said, "Oh, my vote doesn't count," they would change an entire election. So make sure you're.
And listen,
Hey Harlem, make sure that you're aware of what's going on in politics. We're not here to tell you who you should vote for, who whatever. We're not trying
But
to influence you.
what? It's
But you should
important.
absolutely be aware of what's going on, what people are actually saying, and how you actually feel, as opposed to what Fox News is making you feel, what your parents are making you feel, or what the person in your office is making you feel. Those are all irrelevant.
And feel
to
empowered, because I feel like a lot of times that politics seems so distant and like you can't relate to it because it's this big thing that I'll never be able to get a full handle on. But like one thing that I've realized lately is just like know your local politicians, know who you can affect, who you can talk to make effective change in your neighborhoods. Like why isn't trash being picked up in my neighborhood or being picked up in my neighborhood on a regular basis? Like why does Brownsville look like a third world country and have trash all over the place, but Midtown Manhattan don't look like that? Did you know you can reach out to your politician and they have a grade rating based on the cleanliness of a neighborhood and they'll only pick up trash a certain amount of time? And some of these things haven't been updated in 30, 40 years.
Right.
Like just knowing what the power of your vote and your place in politics and legislation
And
means.
just one more thing, I'm agree with D. To push it forward, if I may, if you are a minority or a woman, your ass needs to be registered to vote tomorrow.
Not why
There's no
woman
excuse.
too? Why did woman?
Because y'all couldn't vote until 1920.
Okay,
right.
I'll give you that.
And,
That's
and black
acceptable.
women later than that. All right.
Right.
So if you are any kind of minority or a
That
woman,
was a
your
post
ass
recently.
needs to be running.
Less
to the
than
polls.
60 years ago, y'all. Less than
So-
60 years ago.
So we want to
Folks
thank
That's all I'm saying.
we want to thank everybody for being here.
Thank you all. This is the last episode for Black History Month.
Woo!
We made it. Go ahead, close it out. Go ahead, close it out, Dre.
Till heaven ever ring. That's all.
Here's some harmony.
That was it.
Oh wait, y'all didn't perform.
We're good.
I'm
about
gonna do a concert.
Remember when we
Dude,
were
but
said,
giving us the
listen,
evil eye,
remember when we have
shit
our
up.
party, we will be featuring certain people. So if you want to be featured, hit us up because we are really interested in all black talent. We're interested in black excellence. Let us
Really,
know.
she's the plug.
Yeah, for real. What did you say?
And we love comments, y'all.
Okay.
So let us know how you feel. Please give us some ratings on iTunes/podcast. Hopefully you're enjoying the show. Let us know if you have any questions, topics. Follow us on black_meets_world on Instagram.
And Black Meets World on Twitter. Send us an email at blackmeetsworld@gmail.com.
Love y'all.
Deuces.
Bye.